Hey, this is Time Slip. What is a time slip? Well, it's not when you get laid off. It is about a two-page feature that was in Marvel Vision, which was Marvel Age for the late 90s. Marvel Age was the in-house Oregon promotion slash fanzine that Marvel had all through the 80s. It was great because you get the scoop on, upcoming stuff. Well, in the late 90s, they tried to bring it back in a different way. It's something called Marvel Vision. And they had a lot of different articles, upcoming features, and interviews with upcoming. But, it was a frigging nightmare to read. It was a fun book. It wasn't something you had to get alongside the previews catalog. I think it was a separate thing. And the problem was it suffered from that late 90s, like all of a sudden they discovered they can make all these different pages, different colors, and you would have an article, and let's say it's a 40% pattern light like Iron Man, and then you would have a line go down this way, and that would be pink, and that would be, give me a second, and that would be light blue, and then you put yellow lettering on top of it, and it looked like shit. It was impossible to read, and I liked it, but I couldn't hang with it very long. But the time slips were the best part of the series, or the Marvel Vision. This is Vince Evans' painting wraparound. So this lasted about, I guess, 2 years, and it was kind of neat. But I just got tired of wrestling with like that. That's not bad, but that's pretty tame compared to a lot of other books at the time. So you got a murderer's row of artists here: Kelly Jones, Mike Allred, Guy Davis, Tim Sale, John Paul Leon, Paul Pope, Tony Salmons, Phil Hester, Kelly Hamner, etc., and it's presented in the pages of Marvel Vision. Writer Jim Kruger, who did The Foot Soldiers, which was a book with Scott McDaniel that he did. It was a creator-owned book. So let's go. Let's check it out. Let's see what we're talking about. Well, this is the great Kelly Jones, who's done billions of Batman images, but yet they're always new and refresh. And he did several Batman Elseworlds that had Dracula, or he was Dracula. It was called Red Rain, and it was wildly popular. So, and Kelly's wearing his Bernie Wright's and influence. It actually is a bit of Michael Golden influence to his work as usual. But the great thing is that Kelly isn't predictable. That's the thing. It's like you don't know what you're going to expect when you get an image that he had done. Now, this seemed pretty obvious at the time. They decided to redo Spider-Man, and Mike Allred was perfect choice for the job. He did an annual around 1998 for the Untold Tales of Spider-Man, where it had Spider-Man trying to date Sue Storm and win the affections over Prince Namor because Reed's too busy with his machines. And it was inked by Joe Sinnott. It was a lot of fun. So this is him reimagining Spider-Man, and it's really weird. And like at first, I thought it was like a real disappointment. I like the bedroom, I like the lamp, and I like how the light bends there. And it's such a weird composition, but it sort of makes sense. If he's like a teenager, he's coming up with this wacky costume, and he comes up with a web swing device, but it's more like a grappling hook. And I'm sure Aunt May's going to get on his ass about that ceiling there. But this is not my favorite. I like Allred. I've read, when he did The Impossibles, not The Impossibles, he did like Mr. Gum and all that stuff, and I liked his X Factor too. So, hang on a second. So these pages are sticking because Post-it notes. Iron Man by Guy Davis. Guy Davis did, for years he did for DC/Vertigo. What was it? Sandman Mystery Theater, and it's a great story. It's a pulp type comic book. It takes place way back in the 30s or late 30s. Wars brewing everywhere. And I love all this extra, like, it's so great, the little blueprint stuff. But that just knocks me out. Then we got Daredevil, and he looks a little more satanic. And he's got the extruded horns, and he's got a collar on. What I find interesting, this is Tim Sale, by the way, the late Tim Sale. What I find interesting is I think Alex Ross sort of had the same thing in the back of his mind, because here you got this Daredevil in Earth X, came out in 2000, I think, or a year or two after. He has the longer horns and he has the collar. And there's another page that has what was it? I was there for a second, which you'll see. There you go. Yeah, it's similar, only that's where the similarities sort of end, just with the high collar and the horns. So I just felt compelled to share that with you. So this is great. By the way, this book here, it's dirt cheap. You know, you can buy it for cover price or less if you look hard enough. This is the knockout piece for me, Dr. Friggin' Doom by John Paul Leon, and really, really amazing stuff. Oh my gosh, that's so great. I love this stuff going on. It almost puts me in mind of Howard Chaykin a little bit, at least on that. Like, he liked to do that kind of. That's probably drawn in whiteout, I would wager, because it's got that nice organic feel, even though it's metal. And like that's so over the top, but it works because it's Dr. Doom and he's a crazy man and he's obsessive. So this is Galactus, courtesy of Scott McDaniel, who did Nightwing for a long time. He did Daredevil. He did a little bit of everything else. And what I love about it, I mean, because when we see, and we'll be seeing the upcoming Fantastic Four movie, which I'm pretty excited about, you know, Galactus, just like in his first appearance, you know, he looks to us as we, in a fashion that we could understand him. Like, we see him as a tall guy with this big purple helmet and everything. And that's just the way maybe our brains receive the way he is in a manner that we can relate to, you know. But if that's not the case, you could have something truly gross. So he could look like this. You never know. I mean, that's a bit over the top because it's sort of a, you know, the thing that ate the world. But it reminds me a little bit of, I think it was Cronenberg's Fly, the one with Gina Davis and I can't believe Jeff Goldblum, where creature got turned inside out and its guts like spewed out. And the same thing happened in Galaxy Quest too, when you were trying to teleport a creature. Now, this is the cover painter Vince Evans. I don't know his work, but it's pretty cool. So it's, you know, it's not too different. It's the Red Skull, and I guess he's like a leather fetish thing going on there. I mean, there's more to these stories, but I just want to go through the artwork right now. Here's Bill Seinkiewicz with Thor. Give him a little bit of a chainmail neck, you know, different kind of armor in general. And I envy the looseness that he could do. I spent most of my career tracing, and I really hate tracing, but the artists that I've worked with where I could add a little something to, that was the stuff I liked the most. But, you know, now this is a Mandarin by Paul Pope. And what's interesting, the face puts me in mind of Madame Mask, who is Iron Man's foe and former lover. This is such a mouthful. This is like a word, tongue twister. Here we go. The Mandarin is a Pimpernelian puppeteer. See? The Mandarin is he's out of focus is what he is. The Mandarin is a Pimpernelian puppeteer pitting world powers against themselves in an arena of his unmaking. Having grown up in a paper alleys that weave the mache maze throughout the village, the Mandarin is a crafty devil. He leads iron terrors through a terrible world. And it's like tear, like you tear paper. And I kind of stopped there because I'm like, that is so friggin' corny. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm like, okay, if you're going to make puns, if you're trying to sell this villain, This is Jeff Smith of Bone, who I just don't understand why we don't have a movie out yet by the character Bone, because he's so made. It's all animation looking stuff, and I don't understand why. But dig the surfboard, dig the shape of it. I love it. It's almost like a cleaver cleaving through space. But who's to say what a surfboard is, to an alien? That's what I thought was a really, really nice touch. This is Kevin Lau doing Electra's, one of those. It's okay. It looks like every other Adam Warren drawing, and actually Adam Warren's I like his stuff a lot better. It's quaint. I don't know. Probably gonna get a lot of hate posts. This is the Hulk. Now, by Tony Salmons, and he's one of those artists. Like, if you ask him to do an assignment, if you ask him to do a commission or something, you would have no idea what the image looks like. He has no kind of predictable style. It's just very weird. And what's weird is the coloring. I kind of hoped some of the foreground stuff would be colored different, but it's all the same pretty much. And I thought he was holding like a pipe or something like that, but it looks like it's a hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a finger pointing at you. But he already has 2 hands, so I guess he's the 3-handed creature. His one leg is there, and I guess the other one we can't see for the sake of foreshortening, but it really bugs me because I love Tony Salmon's stuff, but this is just so it's hard for my mind to wrap around. So here's another beauty, the original Human Torch by Professor Horton, and that's sensational. Paul Hester, who did Green Arrow with Kevin Smith, he did a whole bunch of stuff before that, and here is the Black Panther, done by Tommy Lee Edwards. Just like John Paul Leon and several others, he got into that real graphic style that Mike Mignola kind of started, and then they expanded to where they got really clunky and like hard shadows, and that's a great piece there. Tommy Lee Edwards, one of those guys, he's really underrated. People don't seem to think of him. I don't know why. I think he's unique. So Cully Hamner kicking ass as usual. Man, that's a great bod there. And he's got webbed hands and most likely webbed feet. That's something that they really should do with either Aquaman or Submariner or both. That's super badass. Super bad. And this one's okay. It's who's the artist? I don't even remember. Gotta look. Well, I have to look. I thought it right here. Frank Terran, whose artwork story telling blue fans away on the Punisher and What If. And it's like, okay, he did the Punisher and all that, so why are we using him to reimagine something he's already worked on? So it's okay. It's good. It's sort of your Seinkiewicz, post-Seinkiewicz kind of style. Ghost Rider, Glenn Fabry, who I think he's a Brit, and he's a painter. He's done a ton of stuff for DC and DC Vertigo, and he did, I think, the first Bane issue, like the first miniseries of Bane, or the one-shot. He did the cover for that. He's so good. Look at that. That's a mean ride, baby. Then we get Captain Britain by Matt Smith, and it's okay, it's there, it's kind of like what the original one was with the jacket and a scarf, so that doesn't really tickle me. This is Derek Oakwin, who I briefly shared a studio with. These are the Dire Wraiths from Rom Space Knight. He redesigned them. He's like crazy bug-eyed monsters. And Simons has designed when Simons had redesigned it. It was fantastic because in the past, early on, Sal Buscema, I think he didn't think Rom would last because it was a toy tie-in, and they didn't really last long. So he made them look like fluffy cloud with evil eyes, like little clouds. So that's cool. I like that. I like the colors too. and Quicksilver by Vince Giordano, who he's done a lot of DC work, and I don't know how much he's done for Marvel, but he also did, I think he did 13 issues of Haywire by DC, which came out in 88 until 1990, and that's a great series. I've shown that on a previous episode. And there we go, Colossus. And I love he's molten metal, and it's uneven. You know, it's not orderly like we're used to seeing. It's like coals and all kinds of super hot shit. And who did that? Greg Scott. I don't know him, but I love his stuff. And here's Dan Jurgens doing a FF reimagination. So, I mean, you can't see it or anything. The only thing you really reimagined was the Thing. Because the FF have been in a lot of different costumes over the past few years. Come on, man. So, give me 1 second. There we go. Much better. He basically just changed the Thing into this giant rock critter. I like the uniforms a lot. And the thing is, like, since 2000, I think they constantly changed the costumes. In fact, there was a brief run with Leonard Kirk, who gave them red and white uniforms, or red and black, I think. And they were pretty sharp looking, but it was such a jarring situation because it was the first time we weren't in blue costumes. So, this is cool. John Totleben is doing Dr. Octopus. Is that creepy? No, John Totleben, you may know, he was the inker / illustrator of Saga of the Swamp Thing, which became Swamp Thing, that Alan Moore made famous, and I can't think of his name. I can't believe it. Shoot. Anyway, he was the inker, but he also did. Oh, give me a second. Jeez, oh Pete. Steve Bissett. Thank you. Steve Bissett did some phenomenal work, and John Totleben and he were just phenomenal. And then John Totleben stayed on after Steve Bissett left, and then Rick Veitch, took over, and Totleben inked quite a few different artists, and he made Swamp Thing look like he had never looked before. It was just really consistent and fun. So that's about it. There's some other stuff like, hey, the Molecule Man, like, I don't know, things that for some reason they didn't post. Looks like Keith Giffen, Captain America there, kind of going for a little bit of. Actually puts me in mind a little bit of martial law or one of the many Judge Dredd knockoff type characters. But yeah, it's good stuff. It's really good stuff. And originally it was $2.99 when I think comics were $2.99. But you can get this for cover price or less. It's really, really fun to look at. I would love to make a poster of that Iron Man. The fake straight edge there. That's really cool. So that's all. Nothing really beside that. I just wanted to share it with you and just how imaginative it is. If anybody's seen these versions of these characters in other books, let me know, because I kind of think it fell down the memory well. Because this was still the bankrupt years, and I don't know if Marvel just wanted to sweep a lot of that stuff under the rug or what. But that's it. And I hope you enjoyed this very much. This is some kick-ass stuff, and I will talk to you soon. And thanks for watching. Bye.